Hello everybody, it's Girl Got Game and welcome to another Gander episode. Today I am taking a look at Replaced. It's a clever pun if you think about it. So I was contacted by Nehru, who you all probably know from No Bread Studios, played a ton of their games, and she was part of a mystery game dev project for Spooktober. And they worked on this game called Reaplaced, which is a visual novel, and it's also kind of a locked room mystery as well. So yeah, let me read you the story for this real quick, and then we can jump into it. Grea Perrim is a Reaper of Souls, and it's her duty to bring the deceased to the other side. But in the world of Reapers, death isn't any kind of equalizer. The value of a soul is directly tied to the peculiarity of its death. Grea's supernatural senses bring her to a Halloween house party with 3 costumed guests. She soon finds the most valuable kind of soul, the victim of a locked room murder. In order to reap the soul, Grea must unravel the identity of its killer and explain its death in full. Is this a work of a human, a witch, or something else entirely? So there you go. That's what we're getting into today. Little locked room murder mystery. So, ooh. That's fun. I didn't even notice that the first time I went through the options. Yeah, anyway, let's jump in and see what we're getting into today, guys. This is a work of fiction. Names, characters, places, and events are the products of the creator's imaginations. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or actual events is purely coincidental. Ooh, I like the interface. Halloween. What a wickedly wonderful night to find restless souls. While humans party, look for candy, and scare the living daylights out of one another, I always make the most of that sacred time. Isn't she cool looking? Look at this girl. For I, Grea Perrim, whose name is probably horribly mispronounced, am a reaper in search of exceptional souls to harvest. My job is simple. Find those that have died, and usher their souls to their final destination. However, some souls are more treasured than others. Humans like to take comfort in telling each other that death is the great equalizer, that it's all the same when someone dies. It would be rather wicked to let them know how wrong they are, and so we don't. What they don't know is that those with interesting, complex, or otherwise unorthodox deaths are more valuable. It's a point of pride amongst Reapers to collect the more interesting souls. Nobody would talk reverently of a Reaper who lingered around hospitals and nursing homes, waiting for withering husks to fade after all. Damn. No punches pulled. No, by far the most worthwhile and interesting deaths occur from murders. A human taking the life of another human, be it by passion or by plan. Souls pulsing with rage, regret, and remorse, powerful feelings that make them coveted like diamonds. However, because these souls are often overflowing with emotions, they are hard to reap, like trying to pull a ship that's anchored to the ocean floor. But by solving the circumstances of their murders, they are placated and easily harvested. It's not always easy, but the reward is well worth the trouble. Plus, there is some fun in solving a murder. It's good when your work can become your play. And with the bittersweet smell of death in the air, I can always tell when I'll have my work cut out for me. Happy Halloween, humans! You always make such monsters of yourselves. Soul searching. Begin your hunt for a soul. Hooray! My vision cleared as I materialized in the darkness. Immediately, I felt my clothes starting to cling to my skin as a heavy downpour of rain began to soak me. Hold on a second, I'm just going to fiddle with my... There we go. My headphones. Now I can hear a little bit better. It didn't bother me. Being wet is no problem for a Reaper, and you can't pick and choose where the finest dead souls will be found. I wiped some of the water from my face and looked around. I was standing at the side of what might have started the day as a scenic little dirt road through a forest. Now, though, it was becoming a long slick of mud. The only light came from the pale illumination of the full moon. It was enough to navigate by. Surrounding me, I could see wild grass, trees, and large rocky hills nearby. Ah, the quiet and rural landscape of the country. Perfect for intimate murders with few witnesses. Very nicely timed rumbling of thunder. Perhaps someone was killed in the forest? In a slaughterhouse? Maybe even on the road? I hummed these thoughts to myself as the rain continued to pour down. But rather than make any early guesses, I'd let the scent of death guide me instead. I breathed in the air and let the bittersweet aroma guide me down the wet, rainy road. This is the perfect night to be playing this, by the way. It is dark, it is raining. It's actually warm outside, it's not cold tonight. IRL. Sooner or later, I'd come across a corpse. It was only a matter of time. It's only a matter of time. I didn't have to wait long, so after about 10 minutes of walking, I could see shapes in the darkness. A modest home, a collection of cars carefully parked on the roadside, and more importantly, a group of costumed humans gathered close together by the entrance. Well, it was Halloween. It was no surprise that they were dressed up. But in a rural area like this, would they really be going trick-or-treating? Good question. They looked too old to be doing that. Or have adults started going around asking for candy these days? Suspicious. I walked closer but kept to the shadows so I could get a better look at them while staying undetected. Things could get complicated once I revealed myself. I couldn't hear them very well over the downpour, but I was close enough to be able to discern their appearances. That transition, though. The first one that caught my eye was a young man who was wearing an owl costume. Very nice. He looked a little skittish and was trying to peer inside the house through its windows. There was a cardboard box by his feet, though I couldn't exactly tell what was in it. Next was another young man who on first glance looked like a zombie, though as I observed him, I corrected myself. Based on his outfit, I believed he was dressed as a jiangshi, a creature of Chinese myth that's a sort of vampiric zombie. Wow, okay. Costume aside, he looked irritable and was pounding his fist on the door. And while I couldn't hear his words, I was able to make out his anger. Put simply, he was pissed for one reason or another. My eyes cast downward towards the man's feet, and I saw 2 plastic bags full of bottles. Lastly, there was a young woman who was wearing a dress with a tongue? I like her shoes. Not an easy costume to work out straight away, but when you work with the macabre as much as I do, it's hard not to take an interest in various cultures' spooky myths. I deduced that she was wearing an interesting take on that umbrella yokai. Not bad, all things considered. And like the others, she had a plastic container by her feet full of something. She was busy typing away on her phone and also peering through the windows. 3 people, all dressed up in Halloween costumes outside of a pitch-black house. One where the scent of death was ominously strong. These poor humans were just going to end up waiting by the door until the night was done. While I can be very patient, I hate wasting time needlessly. I stepped up from the rain and approached the house. It didn't take long for the 3 to turn and notice me. Now playing Creepy Feeling. I think I actually need to have... Should I turn the music up a little bit? Maybe? Yeah, let's do that. And then put it down a little bit. Okay, there we go. Perfect. Delightful.
Who's there? Vic, is that you? Obviously, that's not Vic. Stop jumping at every shadow that shows up. That's obviously not a shadow. That's a person, I think.
What else would it be?
Monster? What if it's a monster?
Have you looked at yourselves?
It talks!
How kind of the group's fool to identify himself.
It's Halloween. Of course there's going to be a bunch of monsters roaming about. Although...
The umbrella lady pointed her phone at me, the light illuminating me entirely.
That's a pretty great costume. You must have put a lot of work into that Grim Reaper outfit.
Thank you, it's my work uniform.
And she's in character, too. That's some real dedication.
Why are you complimenting her? I have to agree with Bernard on this one. This chick's kind of weird.
What's weird about me? I'm just enjoying the night.
I don't mean to offend, really, but... we don't know you, and you just walked up to us out of the shadows. Not to mention all this weird stuff going on with Vic and...
Who's Vic?
You're not even going to address the other things I said?
I shot a stern glare at the owl man, who stiffened up and averted his gaze.
He just...
Before the cowardly man could continue, the zombie raised his hand to make him stop talking.
Look, I don't know who you are or what your deal is, but it's none of your business. What are you even doing out here?
So the blunt approach wasn't going to work. That was fine. I can put on the charm when I need to. I cleared my throat and then pretended to shiver. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to impose. I was just on my way to work and I lost control of my car on the muddy roads. I can't get cell service and no other cars have come by to help. So I've been wandering along the road hoping to find some sort of help. I'm just a little irritable from getting soaked to the bone.
You were literally standing in the rain like a creep.
The owl guy mumbled under his breath. Luckily, it seemed that my pleading was enough to at least soften the zombie's glare on me. Maybe he did have a heart. Perhaps even a non-rotting one, despite how good the rest of his costume was. I'm just curious. Hold on, I want to try something. Because I have my text speed, like, really fast. If I turn this down, will I get, like, more character volume stuff? I just want to try it for science.
Same thing happened to us. Sort of. We all got here before the rain got bad, but the mud's got all our cars stuck.
It does. Okay. Good to know.
And to make matters worse, we can't even get into Vic's house.
Who's Vic? I hope that this time they'd be more receptive to my question.
He's a friend of ours, and a big horror fanatic. Every Halloween, he hosts a big party for us at his house.
The man pointed to the home in front of us. That sounds pretty cool, actually.
Well, it's not big in the sense of people, more in presentation. It's pretty remote here, but he goes all out with the decorations.
Sometimes he goes too far. I swear he's given me heart attacks with the things he's done.
I see, so you can't get into your friend's house. Sounds troublesome.
It is! We're waiting out here in the rain, and he's got the entire house locked up.
Locked up?
The door and windows are completely locked, and we can't see inside because all the blinds are closed and the lights are off. To make matters worse, he won't even answer his phone, so we have no idea what's going on.
He had us off running errands, and now we can't even get inside. It's a pain in the butt.
I'm worried that something happened to him. People don't just host a party and then go completely dark. Unless something's happened.
Can I confirm everything?
What do you mean by confirm?
Confirm that the door and windows are locked.
I mean, we checked, so...
Yes, I know you checked. I just want to check for myself. May I?
Knock yourself out.
Ooh, we even get to see the full outfit now. Looking really cool. I approached the front door, reaching out for the knob and twisting it. Sure enough, it was locked, but just to be certain, I tried shoving the door.
Do you have to be that thorough?
Always be thorough. Yes, you'd be surprised how many locked doors are just blocked off by some obstacle.
Really? You must know a lot about this kind of thing, then.
Quite so. Anyway, I'm going to check the windows now.
Huh? But you'll have to circle the house for that. You'll get your boots all muddy.
That's fine. I'll just wash them off in the rain when I get back.
You really are weird.
I mean, the girl literally walked up the mud-slick path to the house in the first place, so her boots are probably already muddy. It's not that big a deal. Noted. Now, if you'll excuse me.
Hey, won't you need a flashlight or something to be able to see? One of us should go with you.
There's no need. Even if a phone has no signal, its flashlight can still work just fine. Like you showed when you lit me up.
Oh, of course.
Indeed. Now if you'll excuse me. I didn't wait for her permission, but instead walked past them to inspect the outside of the house. In truth, I didn't have a phone, but I have excellent night vision. They didn't need to know that, though. Right before I rounded the side of the house, I spotted the umbrella woman whispering to the others there. She glanced in my direction and then winked at me. I wasn't sure why she did that, but I didn't let it bother me. Maybe she thinks you're cute. I inspected the windows around the house, and they were properly locked. Or at least they seemed to be. If there was a dead body in there, and I was certain there was, it was well protected. I walked back to the front of the house and looked at the other people gathered there. It seems you were right. The house's windows are all locked.
Right, like I said before. Did you not trust me?
I'd be a fool to trust people I just randomly met in the middle of the night. Who in their right mind would do that? The umbrella girl raised an eyebrow.
Yeah, I wonder who.
Guys, I'm getting really worried.
Fear not, there's an easy way to resolve this.
There is?
Yes, all you have to do is simply unlock the door. The other three looked at me as if I were mad.
Don't you think we would have done that already if we could?
Did you check under the mat at all to see if there was a spare key? So none of you have a key that opens this door?
It's not our house, so why would we?
I assumed that if you were all good friends of Vic, at least one of you would have a spare.
Hey, don't go off saying things like that. Every person is entitled to their privacy.
Right, privacy, of course. I shrugged and walked up to the door. Well, then we're left with no other option.
And that is?
We just have to break down the door.
Break it down? We can't do that!
Why not? You want to get inside, don't you?
I mean, yes, I do, but...
Is there something inside that you wouldn't want me to see?
What? Why is that the first thing that you jump to?
Then I fail to see why we can't just break down the door and enter.
Because Vic would probably want to kill us if he found out we wrecked his door.
Oh. Yes, I suppose that would inconvenience him.
You're just realizing that now?
We could have someone jump through a window instead.
How is that any better?
I've heard that it's much cheaper to replace a broken window than a broken door. Time spent in hospital recovering might balance out the cost, though. The L-man's jaw dropped and he looked at the others. No doubt stunned at the realization that the windows were an alternate entrance point. I'm sure that was it.
Just play along. It's probably part of the act.
The act? It was rather sweet the way they still hadn't realized I was being entirely serious. Well, they could believe whatever they liked as long as they'd agree with us getting inside.
Fine. But if Vic gets upset, you're taking the blame. Whatever. I just want to get this stuff inside and drink already.
I walked up to the door with the zombie man, who looked at me and then at the door.
So, how are we going to do this?
Have you never kicked down a door before?
I usually just use the handle, or take the hint I'm not meant to go through that door.
Okay, then I will show you in case you ever need to do so. It's quite simple, really.
Uh-huh.
I walked up to the door and adjusted my stance. You want to stand about a leg's length away. Prepare the kick with your dominant foot. Aim for just above or below the lock. Use a flat foot. Make sure your knee is slightly bent on impact, and then I raised my foot into the air and delivered a swift and heavy kick to the door. It wasn't enough to break the door open on the first try, but the sound of splintering wood meant there was progress. There, now you can give it a go. The zombie looked uncertain and turned to the others.
Can you show me how to do it again?
Why couldn't these humans learn from just watching once? I think they just want plausible deniability, like, sorry man, she was the one that broke your door down, it wasn't any of us. Fine, like I said, just copy my form and the door should buckle easily. Watch carefully this time. I took a step back and delivered another kick to the door, except this time the door broke open and swung inside the home. There, it only took 2 kicks, and I'm not particularly strong.
Girl, don't be so modest. You knocked that door clean off its hinges.
No, I didn't. See, it's clearly still attached. Anyway, shall we go inside? I didn't bother waiting for a response and walked inside the house.
Hey, wait! Aren't you supposed to ask for permission before entering?
That's what vampires do, not reapers.
I meant like a decent human being.
Did you not hear me? I'm a reaper.
Ugh, she's way too committed.
Ooh, even got an orange couch? Orange pillows? Nooses? 4 nooses? Suspicious. One for each of them, eh? I admire the decorations. Very nice indeed. The others walked in behind me and flipped on the lights. Aw man, I didn't even comment on the spider web mat. That's really cool. I like that too.
Vic, we had to bust your door down since you wouldn't answer your phone. We think that this is part of some weird prank you're doing, so hopefully that's part of the act. Don't say we! This weird girl is the one who broke it down. I'm not going to take any responsibility for what happened here.
As we all entered the home, I noticed that each of them had brought their box or bags inside. The zombie and Al walked over toward the kitchen. The former began unpacking bottles of alcohol onto one of the countertops, while the latter began to arrange boxes and packets of snacks onto another.
None of the food got wet, did it? It's all in plastic packaging, so it's dry, don't worry.
That spider!
Like, hey!
That's great. I turned to the umbrella girl, who was pulling multiple VHS tapes and DVDs out of some bags. She was even plugging various wires into the nearby TV and VCR/DVD combo player. Despite being worried about their friend, they didn't seem to have much urgency in going to find him. True. Of course, they were only human. They couldn't smell his corpse from afar like I could. I took a sniff of the air. The acrid, bittersweet smell was more intense inside the house. There was no doubt that a body was in here somewhere. But I didn't need to rush to find it. That would just make everyone here frantic and hard to talk to. I chose to take advantage of that moment of calm to glean some information out of them. Before I picked their brains individually, it would help me to gather them all up together first. Breaking and entering. Find a way into the house. Happy Halloween! That little ghost in the corner. Well, not so little, but it's cute. Pardon, but may I ask what it is that you've all brought with you? You seem more preoccupied with unpacking things than checking for your friend.
Well, we couldn't just leave this stuff out in the rain.
Yeah, Victor was pretty strict about making sure we had everything in place for the party. As far as I'm concerned, We still have to set everything up right for when he shows up.
When he shows up?
Right, because this whole thing is just a prank. You're in on it. Right?
I said nothing and just stared at the owl man, unblinking, until he decided to turn away.
Gotta say that she's got that uncaring Reaper attitude down for sure.
I take offense to that. I am very caring when I need to be. I just need to stay professional when I'm working.
Ha! There, she just admitted that she was working.
My words seem to just go through one ear and out the other with these people.
Now that I think about it, we haven't been introduced. What's your name?
Grea Perrim.
That sounds made up.
It's a stage name, of course it's made up.
Yes, it was made up by somebody, just as all your names are, I assume.
Technically that's true. I guess. Why are you glaring at us like that?
I'm waiting for you to tell me your names.
Huh? You don't know our names?
How would I know your names? I just met you only a few minutes ago.
I mean, that's true, but... Didn't Victor tell you our names in advance?
They still thought that I was part of some prank. I shook my head.
Mio, are you sure that she's not, like, some lunatic witch stumbling in from the forest?
Witches would not be allowed to wear this uniform.
Yeah, Bernard. Witches would obviously have a hat and broomstick, duh.
That's not what I meant!
So you two are Mio and Bernard?
Yes, I'm Mio Yoshida, and that's Bernard.
Bernard Hahn. Wait, why did we give her our last names? What if she uses them to commit fraud? How would she do that with just our names? I don't know. I just don't want to give out my personal details so easily.
It's only fair to give out your full name after I gave out mine.
How do we even know that it's your real name?
I'm wearing a name tag. It's part of my uniform. I shifted the amethyst on my outfit to show the crystallized name inside. What about the zombie? What is his name?
It's Kai Durand.
Excellent. Now that we're all acquainted, I'd like to ask the group some questions.
Sure, fire away.
First question. I saw you all gathered outside together. Did you all arrive at the same time?
No, I was the first to show up here. Bernard showed up next, and then finally Mio.
So you showed up alone first, Kai.
That's what I just said.
And the door was locked when you first arrived. Kai frowned and looked back at the broken door.
Yeah, I knocked on the door and rang the doorbell, but Vic didn't show up. So I just waited a couple of minutes. That's when the others showed up in their cars.
We each drove here on our own. We had a few errands to run before the party was going to get started, after all.
That's probably referring to all the food, drinks, and entertainment that they brought. I'll ask them each about that later. When did you check the windows?
Maybe a couple of minutes after we all arrived and tried calling Victor, we figured we'd check around the house. Mio didn't want to get her costume all muddy, so Kai and I went around the house while she waited up front.
You're making me sound like a jerk.
I'm not. The rain was starting to come down a bit harder, so I don't blame you for wanting to stay out of the dirt.
That's funny, considering that you're an umbrella yokai.
It's just a costume. It's not exactly waterproof.
Regardless, did anything happen while you were standing watch or inspecting around the house?
No. The curtains on the windows were closed, so we couldn't even see inside with our phones. And we couldn't really hear anything, aside from the rain.
So they had no idea what the state of the house was until they got inside. Was that deliberate, or just a coincidence?
Nothing happened while I was waiting up front, either.
And how long were you alone for?
Couldn't have been more than a couple of minutes? Maybe like 3 minutes at most? Then Kai and Bernard came back. We waited a couple of minutes, pounded on the door some more, kept calling Vic. And then you showed up.
I see, thank you. I have a better grasp of the timeline now. Okay, a creepier looking ghost. Cool, cool. Kai showed up first, so he could have been inside or done something else while he was alone. Not that I really saw any evidence of that, but I should at least keep the possibility in mind. And Mia was only alone for about 3 minutes. That might have been enough time to tamper with something. I knew that I'd have to keep my eyes open for anything that seemed off. Speaking of... this room seems extremely well decorated. Someone put a lot of work into it.
That's Vic for you, a fanatic perfectionist. He doesn't have to go all out on the decorations, but every year he does.
I think it's kind of sweet the way he does all this for us.
Except the time he had that damn haunted animatronic doll that scared the bejesus out of me. Oh yeah, that was a good year.
So he does all this himself?
Yup, always likes to make the party a big surprise. Seems that it's the same way this year, too. I figure that you're part of the decorations now, too.
Kai pointed at me and I stared blankly at him. Like, did you just make a pass at me? I am no decoration to be gawked at.
Right, right. Well, if that's everything, let me get back to pulling out all these bottles. They were a pain to pack up, and I don't want anyone tripping over them.
Go ahead, I'll simply observe for the time being. A new clue has been recorded.
Psst! Claire, did you notice that clue you got? That's not for Grea, that's for you. Grea solved this mystery from the clues she found. Will you manage to do the same before her final reveal? Pay attention to the clues. At the end of the investigation, you'll get another message before the big reveal. See if you can figure it out before the mystery is explained. Good luck!
I love that. Because I think I read in the gameplay that it's a linear murder mystery. So you don't have... I don't think there's choices. No, sorry. There are choices, but you don't influence whether you solve the mystery or not. That's really cool. So you know that our girl's going to solve it, but can you solve it before she does, or at the same time she does, or whatever? Pretty awesome. Alright, let's look at our clues. House decorations. Playing along. Open the clue screen for the first time. This actually gives me huge contradiction vibes. And I love it. Okay. Location. Living room. The lounge of the house is extravagantly decorated, including fake cobwebs, nooses, creepy paintings, fake spiders, bat stickers, and yak-o'-lanterns. According to the others, Victor does all the decorating himself. Okay. I stepped back and let the others get back to their duties. Not that I was going to sit back for too long. Now it was time to get personal. I'd have a small chat with each of them before I gave them a slight push to find out where their friend had disappeared to. Ah, so now I get my choices, right after I almost blundered myself. Let's just go in order, shall we? Kai. I walked over to Kai, who was organizing the bottles. The drinks ranged from sodas to whiskey, to even some water bottles, each with tamper-proof seals still unopened. Humans are always so worried about people messing with their food and drinks. Quite the selection you have there.
Well, what's a party without alcohol?
A party? Alcohol isn't needed to have a good time. Kai rolled his eyes.
Yeah, well, it makes things better, that's for sure. Vic knows that as well as anybody. That's why he asked me to get drinks.
Was there any particular reason why he asked you specifically?
Because I know the best places to get it for cheap without sacrificing quality. There aren't a lot of stores around here, so knowing where to get good booze is a handy skill. One that I've perfected over the years.
What an impressive skill that will certainly aid you in the future.
I mean, it probably comes in handy if you're on a budget. But more importantly, I can mix these things up into something real tasty once the party gets going.
Oh, so this Victor fellow invited you to be the bartender. That makes much more sense.
He invited me because I'm his friend. There's not much more to it than that.
How long have you known him for?
Since we were in kindergarten, I think. So quite a long time. The guy's always been a bit of a...
Weirdo?
No, not a weirdo. I mean, sure, he's weird, but he's more...
Eccentric? There it is.
eccentric. That's the word.
Isn't that the same as weird?
Weird is like insulting. Eccentric has more of a positive spin, doesn't it?
They both mean strange and out of the ordinary, but I suppose that eccentric has a more positive connotation.
Exactly. Victor's a good guy, but he tends to get caught up in his own thoughts sometimes. That's why we balance one another out well. I'm the grounding force that keeps him from having his head in the clouds.
Aw, how sweet. You really care for him?
Don't make it sound so sappy. That's just what good friends do for one another.
You'd be surprised that many good friends aren't really that kind at all.
That's their problem. Victor and I go way back. We have a bond as strong as steel.
I see. Poor Kai. It wouldn't be long after all until he found that even steel can be shattered.
By the way, do you have a favorite drink? I'm a pretty good mixologist.
I don't drink that often, but I could go for a whiskey sour.
Oh.
His face dropped as he looked over his collection of bottles. Is that going to be a problem?
Well, sort of. I didn't bring any lemon juice.
Isn't lemon juice a common ingredient in a lot of drinks? Did you just forget to buy it?
No, if anything, I remembered to not buy it.
I don't understand.
Vic has a problem with lemons, so I try not to get anything that might have lemon flavoring in it.
What about the others? What if they wanted a lemon drink?
Then they can be good friends and have their second choice. I've got to look out for Vic, after all.
That still doesn't make sense to me. Is he, like, allergic to lemons? Deathly allergic to lemons?
Don't worry about it. I'll just make you something else later, alright?
Okay, if you say so. I'll leave you to organize your makeshift bar.
Yeah, I'll do just that.
A new clue has been recorded. I left Kai alone and moved back to the center of the living room. Alright, let's look at our clue. Drinks. Location, kitchen. A variety of bottles and liquids used for mixing and making drinks. Colas, ginger ale, vodka, whiskey, root beer, and orange juice. All of their tamper-proof seals are intact. Kai brought these to the party. Okay. Also, lemons are a no-go, apparently. Whoops, hold on. Let's talk to Mio. I decided to talk with Mio, who was busy plugging various wires into the television. Is there a reason why you're the one doing all the technical work?
The others got drinks and snacks, so I got stuck with movie duty. If you don't use the right wires, then you won't get the right sound or video. Old tech is so annoying.
And you had to get all these movies as well? I glanced over at the collection of VHS tapes and DVDs on the table. Game of Misfortune, Void Space, Technique the Investigator Gauntlet, Detective Stewart and the Maiden Voyage Murders, I See Annabelle, Ray Rev. Interesting collection here.
Yeah, these are some bona fide classics.
Is there a reason why you're watching them on old VHS tapes and DVDs? You could probably stream them. I was wondering that too, girl.
Vic thinks that there's a sort of horrific charm in watching old media and old technology.
Makes sense. Did you pick these out yourself?
Some of them, yeah. Vic knows that I've got good taste when it comes to horror-related stuff. That's how we met, you know, at the school occult club.
An occult club?
Yup! A lot of people are off-put by scary stories and occult myths, but I think they're fascinating. Every culture has its monsters, ghosts, and spirits to watch out for. Why not learn how the horrors of the world manifested in each of them?
That's actually a very intellectual way to look at it.
Thanks, I take my research seriously.
I can tell, your outfit looks pretty accurate for a Kasa Obake. You're covering one leg to represent how they're one-legged, right? Mio's eyes went wide, and soon after, so did her smile.
You get it! Oh my gosh, I thought no one was going to see all the effort I put into this! You must be an occult fan yourself.
Not really. This kind of info just comes with my job.
Right, because you have to research to play a bunch of parts, don't you?
Sure, whatever you say. It would have been more hassle than it was worth to argue about it at that point anyway. Hey, at least you made this girl's night. She's like, yes, someone understands my reference.
In that case, maybe you might want to try and up your game with some other ideas. Give me a second.
Mio started looking around the living room until she found a particular book and laid it out on the table.
I found this masterpiece in an old library that was selling off books that hadn't been borrowed in years.
What exactly is it?
A catalog of all sorts of monsters, spirits, and cryptids, with detailed sketches and descriptions. I lent this to Victor because he likes to use it for inspiration whenever we have these parties.
I see. Thank you.
Go on, no need to be modest, you can take a peek. I promise that the forbidden knowledge within won't burn your eyes out.
Thanks, that's reassuring. Mio's big eyes were glaring expectantly at me. I had a feeling that there wasn't any way I could get away without at least entertaining the book with a glance. I opened the book to a random page that was bookmarked. It had detailed descriptions and sketches of 4 monsters. Werewolves. Powerful beasts of the night that transform from human to powerful beastmen with ravenous hunger and ferocity. Contrary to popular belief, the transformation is more akin to a blood explosion, with the skin bursting apart as the wolf-like features push their way over the skeleton. Ugh. Gross. Similarly, direct contact with moonlight is required to trigger this transformation, and even then only during a full moon. The best way to deal with a werewolf is to use silver, fire, or simply execute the human when it reverts back from its wolf form. Werewolves can go back to being human if not exposed to moonlight for extended periods of time. Oh, that's interesting. I moved on to the next section. Doppelgangers. Masters of disguise, these monsters are able to steal the skin of the dead and alter their bodies to match. While not inherently dangerous on their own, a doppelganger's desire to fit in sometimes causes them to murder to find a disguise that will offer them safety. When they steal the skin of a fresh corpse, they gain access to their memories and personality, allowing for a perfect disguise. They even inherit physical conditions, such as poor vision, intolerance to milk, or even a recently contracted illness. Okay, so if a doppelganger was pretending to be Vic, they also would not like lemons. For reasons. Doppelgangers use their diamond-shaped claws to dig deep into the body and tear it off without damaging the rest of the tissue. A technique that has served them well for many years. Be on the lookout and trust nobody. That was actually an interesting read. Reapers! Oh, something on my kind. I was curious to see what they managed to get right and what misconceptions they conjured up. Reapers are servants of death, ushering the deceased to their final resting place. Correct, though it was such common knowledge it didn't even need to be written down. They usually take the form of a skeleton shrouded in a cloak of darkness, although they are rarely seen. What? Where did they get this information from? Why do humans always jump to the wrong conclusions when the supernatural is involved? Yes, we have skeletons. That doesn't mean we just walk around all bony. That'd be a horrible disguise. There are many flavors of Reapers, each type specializing in certain deaths. Grim Reapers, Laughing Reapers, Withering Reapers, Dauntless Reapers. Technically true, though I'm not sure if the names are a perfect match. I do hate dealing with those overly joyous Reapers, always laughing and smiling about stupid deaths. I suppose that comedy is a way to help some souls move on, though. Despite the differences in name, they all share the same common powers of being able to sense death and transport souls. True, we also have a few more tricks to help ourselves blend in without being noticed and traverse the world. I personally don't mind a bit of fame, though. Their work is unyielding and never-ending, leading to all Reapers living long and lonely lives until Master Death calls on them to rest. We certainly live longer than they realize, and longer than they'd likely be able to comprehend. But lonely? Hardly. Reapers interface with one another very frequently. How else could we hear a claim when we reap complicated souls? And our jobs often have us in contact with many humans, even if only for a few brief moments. And death doesn't toss away useful servants. Though, if a Reaper is careless enough, they'll happily assign the role to someone more worthy. Not that I have to worry about that. Now, on to the last one. Slimes. Extremely rare and extremely dangerous, the slime is able to suffocate and digest organic matter with its acidic body. Slimes may appear small, but they may be simply hiding portions of their body between cracks. Never approach a slime. They consume everything aside from bones, and worst of all, if a slime consumes a sentient being, it gains a cunning intelligence and may start to morph its body to lure in prey. If you suspect a slime is impersonating someone, look for a slime-like tether anywhere on their body. Okay, so we've had two monsters in here that can impersonate people. A cunning slime may try to disguise it as gum or dough. Do not fall for it and simply run. I have to admit that I wasn't too familiar with these creatures. Honestly, humans believe in a lot of made-up nonsense, and miss a lot of things that are right under their noses. Not that I was going to tell Mio that.
I know, right? It's a treasure trove of valuable information.
Let's hope that your friend didn't decide to put any slime-like traps around the house to fit the mood.
Knowing him, nothing is off the table. Anyway, I should get back to setting this up properly. I don't want to have to battle with a tangle of cables in the dark later.
I'll leave you to it then. I put the book back down on the table and left Mio to her work. Dang. Mio was a treasure trove of information. We got, look at all these clues! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 clues! Okay. Living room. A bundle of ancient and unintuitive television cables used to connect the VHS/DVD combo player to the TV. Mio brought them to the party. Bonafide Classics. A collection of bonafide classic VHS and DVD movies that Mio brought to watch during the party. All the movies. Werewolves. Powerful okay. So they just copied that into our clues. That's actually very useful in case we want to look through that again as the night progresses. Very nice, very nice. Alright, scared owl boy, let's go. I walked up to Bernard, who was unpacking various food items from a box onto the kitchen counter. He kept looking away from me as I stared at him.
What?
Nothing, I'm just observing what you're doing.
I'm just unpacking some snacks for later. It's not all that interesting.
I narrowed my eyes to inspect what he was unpacking. Any lemons in there? Boxes of crackers, popcorn packets, some bags of candy corn, 2 jars of cookies with fancy lids, and colorful candy bars. I suppose you're right. It's not all that interesting. What I find interesting is why someone so easily spooked ended up befriending someone obsessed with horror. Just strikes me as odd.
Is it really that odd?
Yes, while you may be dressed as an owl, I sense that you have the soul of a chicken.
Why are you so rude?
Why are you a coward?
Ugh. First of all, I'm not a coward. It's perfectly normal to be scared of things. So what if I'm a little jittery? It'll keep me safe if someone runs at me with a knife.
I suppose there is some benefit to cowardice, but that still doesn't explain how you befriended someone that probably spooked you, no?
Ah, well, we both liked the same sort of games.
Games?
Horror games. We played them together growing up.
You can't convince me that you willingly played horror games with your skittish attitude.
Well, I'd never play them alone. I'd always ask Victor to play them while I watched. But I liked the stories a lot. I just couldn't get through the gameplay.
Aw man, I feel that on a spiritual level, Bernard. What a strange way to bond with someone.
That was just how we got to know one another. After that, the friendship just came naturally. That comes with its usual pros and cons.
Such as?
Well, Victor is a mischievous guy. Likes to play pranks and make stupid jokes. Even if it scares the life out of me. That's just the guy he is. But he's also dedicated. I mean, he always hosts this party every year without fail and always makes it fun. So I can't say he's a bad guy. I just wish he'd calm down a bit more.
Be careful what you wish for, you just might get it.
What does that mean?
Nothing. I don't want to spoil the surprise of you finding out just how calm he is now. Dead calm. Ba-dum-tsh. She got him. Hey, yummy snacks in the back. Anyway, can I have one of these snacks? I haven't eaten since I got here. I reached over towards one of the jars of cookies he'd pulled out. But Bernard smacked my hand away before I could grab one.
Don't touch that!
I withdrew my hand and glared at him.
We're not supposed to eat them until the party starts.
Okay, that's a little strange.
Victor told me, so you can't have any.
It's just one cookie.
You're not even a proper guest, so don't act like you're entitled to one.
I grumbled under my breath and looked over all the snacks with envy. Fine, keep your stupid snacks. I didn't want one anyway. Meh. I did, but with the owl keeping watch, there was no way I'd be able to sneak one. But I'd get one of those cookies, mark my words! I retreated back to the center of the living room. If it's the last thing I do, I will get one of those cookies. An assortment of snacks, including popcorn, candy bars, 2 jars of cookies, and candy corn. Bernard brought them to the party. That had been an interesting set of distractions, but I needed to get things moving. This has been pleasant and all, but shouldn't the hosts of the party be revealing themselves about now?
Yeah, even if this is a joke of some kind, Vic should have shown up already. Unless it has some kind of long build-up.
Maybe you should go looking for him. Kai groaned as he stood up and looked towards the doorway ahead.
Oh, alright. I'll go and look for him then.
Shouldn't we all go together?
I guess we could if you want to. I'm still setting things up.
All you're doing is taking food out of a box. You can leave it for a second, can't you?
What if someone eats something while I'm gone?
You wouldn't have to worry about that if we all left together.
Oh, that's a good point.
This must be part of the prank. Maybe we're meant to all go together. Like we'll come across some gruesome scene while we're grouped up.
Why would I want to see something like that?
Because it's Vic that we're talking about.
Oh. If it's going to be such a big hassle, just stay put and I'll be back in a few minutes at most. Vic's house isn't that big anyway, so he'll be easy to find.
I don't like people wandering off alone, so I considered whether to accompany him. I was about to follow Kai into the hall when Mio grabbed me by the arm.
Hey, Grea, I just remembered something.
What? I turned back to watch Kai go down the hall, turn a corner, and vanish from sight. Damn. He'd gone.
You said that you were having issues calling for help earlier. If your phone's still not working, you can use mine. Unless you don't really need to call for help.
She smiled coyly as she held her phone out in front of me. I had a feeling that she knew that I didn't really need to call anyone and was just testing me. But if she thought that I was just some actor, then why was she interfering? Maybe she wanted to throw a wrench into the perceived prank that Vic had laid out. Or did she simply not believe in it at all? Maybe she viewed me as a complete stranger. Right, I'll see if I can call them. I took the phone from her hand and began to type in a number. It was just a dummy number that I usually use to fake a phone conversation. I let it ring a few times before feigning frustration. All the while, Mio seemed to be looking around the room, putting a hand up to her ear. Was she listening for a phone to ring? Damn it, they're not answering.
I wonder if he put it on silent.
Yep, she must have thought I was calling their friend Vic. I handed the phone back to Mio, who pouted as she tucked it away.
Really committed to the part, huh? Come on, you can tell me what he's planning. Girl to girl, yeah?
What do you mean?
We all know that Vic hired you as some material for whatever prank he's got set up. Come on our side. Let's flip things a little and spook him instead.
I really don't understand what you're talking about.
Fine, I'll say it plainly. Vic's always getting the drop on us with these pranks and tricks. We've all been itching to get a little playful revenge on him. Why not help us out instead? I'll pay you double whatever he paid.
Is it really that important to trick your friend that you'd pay someone to help you?
At the very least, it'd be memorable. So come on, tell us where he's hiding and maybe we can plan something out.
I'm sorry, but I really don't have an idea where... And there it is.
Holy shit!
Our conversation was cut short as Kai's voice boomed through the house.
Whoa, what's going on? What was that for?
Kai probably fell for one of Vic's tricks again.
Guys, come over here quick!
I felt a frisson of excitement knowing that the main event was about to play out.
He sounds serious.
Oh boy, what did he do this time? Drop a bucket of fake spiders?
There's only one way to find out. The three of us hurried out to the living room and through the doorway. We followed the sounds of Kai's cries and turned left at the hallway. He was waiting right by the door, face slightly pale as he kept a hand on the doorknob.
What happened?
There's some really weird shit in the laundry room.
Can you be more clear? What exactly did you find?
A skeleton and just...
A skeleton? You were spooked by a skeleton. That's like the most basic-ass Halloween prop.
Skeletons can be scary. Shut up! It's not just the skeleton, it was... the crap it was on top of too. Like... dirt? No! It was...
Just let me through so I can take a look at it.
Hey, wait just a...
I didn't bother listening to Kai and pushed past him, swinging the door open to reveal what had horrified him. And boy oh boy, it was quite a scene. Ooh. Reaper. Okay. So it could be a slime, because slimes don't eat skeletons. Interesting. My eyes locked onto the realistic-looking skeleton in the center of the room, laying on top of a pile of viscera and sinew. The putrid smell of guts and blood sent my senses ablaze as I walked closer towards the display. Actually, hold on. They consume everything aside from bones. Maybe not. Because there's viscera. The slime should have eaten it too. And then doppelgangers tear off the body without damaging the rest of the tissue. Okay. Interesting. The putrid smell of guts and blood sent my senses ablaze as I walked closer towards the display. I had seen gory deaths before, but never one quite like this.
Whoa! This is some serious production value. Vic really upped his game with the fake blood and guts this time around.
Why are you impressed? This is fucked up! Even for Vic, this is going too far. I'm gonna be sick.
Okay, sure, it might be a bit gory, but it's gotta be fake. Like homemade blood and guts. Or maybe he just ordered it online or from a store. Hell, he could have gotten it from the local butcher.
Right. It's just fake.
Bernard breathed a sigh of relief, only to gag and cover his mouth.
Ugh! It smells horrible! Why the hell did he have to make it smell like a corpse too? See what I mean? You'd be scared shitless if you discovered this too. I didn't even realize it was fake until you started explaining it.
Fake? No, this isn't a fake body. This is certainly a real corpse. Even if it's been rearranged a bit. They couldn't know, but I could sense the lingering soul chained to this body. Even without that supernatural knowledge, I could tell that these weren't fake bones. The sinew, the flesh, the blood, the smell. Okay, there's still flesh, eh? While I wasn't sure how the body ended up in this state, I was certain that this was a corpse. Not that the others were willing to believe me.
Okay, I know that you're supposed to be, like, a mood setter and all that, but can you cut it out? This is seriously some freaky shit. We're all thoroughly spooked. You win. Now don't go on saying this is real. Please don't. I don't think that my stomach could take it.
Yeah, it's just a joke, right? Ah, you got us, Vic. You can come out now. Seriously, you got us. Can we just go back to having a normal party, please?
If you think that this is a joke, I implore you to look closely at this fake corpse presented to you. Look how fresh this blood is, the smell. You can even poke at the viscera if you want.
I will not be doing that. I seriously would pass out if I have to get any closer to that thing.
I don't want to get blood on my outfit.
Kai was the only one willing to get closer to inspect the body. He shakily held out his finger and poked around the blood and guts.
It's warm. And wet, and... well, why the hell is it warm? Fake stuff isn't supposed to be this warm, right? There's probably just some heater underneath all this stuff. And maybe this is all just... butchered pig guts.
I had to give him credit. He was thinking really hard to find some excuse for this not to be real. You're free to dig around further, but I doubt you'll find any sort of heater under all that. You'll just end up staining your outfit. Plus, how exactly would your friend manage to connect the sinew of pig guts onto a fake skeleton so... realistically?
Shut up. It's not real. It's not real.
Here, I'll do the digging for you. I'm used to rummaging through corpses. I slid my hand underneath the viscera and carefully lifted it, blood and straight flesh leaking between my fingers. The only thing beneath it being a blood-soaked floor.
What the fuck?
Kai, please tell me you're just playing along. Please just tell me that you're part of this act too.
Of course I'm not! Why the hell would I want to be part of something this sick? So it's real? It's a real corpse? Why the hell is there a corpse in Vic's house? Oh gods, is that Vic? How the fuck did he end up like that?
Shut up, Bernard! We don't know it's a corpse yet. It has to be a prank. It just has to be. Vic is going to come out laughing his ass off and explain his 50-step process and how he made this lifelike corpse, and then we'll just strangle him to near death, laugh it off, and enjoy the rest of the party like normal. So please, Victor, stop messing with us already and just show yourself.
They were each praying in silence, praying that their friend would appear from the shadows with a sadistic grin and maddening laughter. That maybe he had simply gone too far with a joke and didn't realize it. But the eerie silence and putrid smell wafting from the corpse only made their guts turn and their faces turn pale. And the caustic truth began to seep into their heads. This was no joke, no prank, no trick. This was the irreversible, horrible, painful truth. There was a corpse in their friend's house, and quite possibly it belonged to their missing friend.
Please.
Are you done with the dramatics? Pretending that things are okay isn't going to solve anything.
How the fuck can you say that?
No, she's right. Even if she's being blunt and insensitive, she's right. This isn't a laughing matter. It's not a joke. Someone killed Vic and left him in this fucked up state. I don't want to believe it either, but what the hell are we supposed to do? We run! Obviously! Their killer might still be around! Shut the fuck up, Bernard! I'm not going to run away when there's a killer on the loose. Someone who killed my best friend. I'll make them pay for this. When I get my hands on them, I'll make this death look like child's play.
Easy there, one murder at a time, please. Kai turned to me, rage etched on his face as his fist trembled by his side.
And what about you? What the hell is your deal? How come you're so calm about this? Aren't you some actor that Vic hired? Why are you able to deal with this like it's normal?
I said it before, didn't I? I'm a reaper. I deal with dead bodies all the time. I'm no actor. I was never in contact with your friend. I'm just as oblivious to what's happened as you are.
Then you lied to us before about being an actor.
First of all, I never once said that I was. That was an assumption that you all made. Or one of you made it, then like a contagion it spread around to plague your minds. I looked over at Mio, who sheepishly kept her head down. I'll say this much. I've been honest about almost everything. My name is Grea. I was on my way to work, and no other cars happened to pass me by as I came to this house. My phone service wasn't working, and I would be in big trouble if I didn't find someone to help me. Help me find a dead body, that is. The only thing that I was dishonest about was having a car.
You can't really expect us to trust you after everything that's happened.
You don't need to trust me. In fact, I invite suspicion. It means you'll be on guard. However, I'll say this much. I have a vested interest in helping you solve this murder. So, it'd do well for you to at least cooperate with me for the time being.
Cooperate? No. We need to call the police and have them figure this out.
You're free to call the police, but considering the state of the storm outside, it might take them some considerable time to get here. And from what I can tell, this corpse is relatively fresh. The murderer might still be close. Best to be proactive than sit around and wait for outside help, no?
But... Can it, Bernard? Creepy and weird as this girl is, I think she's right. At the very least, we can try and figure some things out ourselves. I'm not going to let some twisted fuck get away with killing Vic. And I'm sure as hell not going to sit around and do nothing. But...
Just let them do their thing, Bernard. It's not like we'll get in trouble for at least trying.
Yes, we will! I'm pretty sure there's some law against it, right? And even if there isn't, I don't think I could handle looking at a corpse that long.
Then I'd advise you to stand back, but don't run off. I want everyone close by while I begin my investigation.
Ugh. Fine, I'm still going to call the police. Even if they show up late, it's better than nothing.
Bernard whipped out his phone and brought it up to his ear. After a few seconds, he looked down at the screen in frustration.
Damn it. I'm not getting any service. Did the storm knock down a tree or something? Why is this happening tonight?
It is storming pretty bad out there. Wouldn't be too hard to believe things are out of order.
Bernard cursed under his breath and put his phone away.
I guess we might as well do it your way then, Grea.
Good. Now that we're all on the same page, I can investigate freely. Don't worry, Victor. We'll resolve your death in due time. And I'll reap that valuable soul you have. Okay. And with that, hide and seek. Find the missing host. I think that's a great point to end the Gander for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I certainly did. This is exceptionally well done. Like, the quality of everything, the characters, the music, the sound design, the art is just fantastic. And the writing is really good too. I'm intrigued. Color me intrigued, to say the least. I'd love to play more of this sometime. So if you guys would like to see me play more at a future date, let me know. I might do a stream or something and finish it up another time. And if you would like to check this out for yourself, I hope you will. I'll have links to it both on itch.io and Steam down below if you would like to play it for yourself. And yeah, see if you can figure out who the murderer is before our girl Grea can do that. I also just realized that her name is an anagram of Grim Reaper, and I feel dumb for not figuring it out earlier. I'm like, Grea Perrim. Grea Perrim. That's very clever. I like that a lot. Anyway, thanks again for joining me. Until next time, I will see you later.